another quick little video. I'm away this week, so I'm just doing a few quick little videos, and I'm going to try uploading them on my phone, see how that goes, because uploading them on my computer is taking ages, which is something else I have to investigate and see if I can speed up the internet speed for uploading. Downloading's fine, uploading is being a pain in the butt. So I did a video the other day with the first coat of painting over this little canvas panel, which they can hang on the wall, and then it's got two little pegs here, so I can clip photos on there and just change them whenever I want to. I actually made it to sell it, and I hadn't sold it, so decided I'd repaint it in the colours that I like. So I'm just using an really old paintbrush, some pale blue paint. It's called the Creative something or other. I can't even read that. Crafters acrylic paint in cold blue. No, I worked out this the other day that it's Crafters acrylic paint, cold blue, made in China, of course, manufactured for the Reject Shop. So the Reject Shop is a dollar store here in Australia. So this has just been bought at a cheap shop, and all I'm doing is putting a little bit of paint straight onto the panel. And I want this colour a lot lighter. I don't want the dark blue, so I want to use a lot of the light paint and just a little bit of this darker paint, which is a Jo Sonja's Sapphire. Oh, my fingers are getting a bit arthritic, so sometimes I really struggle getting these lids off these days. Mind you, these little black lids have never been that easy. If you let the paint dry on them, they're even worse. They're shocking. So I'm really honestly just doing this streaky and in vertical stripes to get just a vertical stripy look. I don't think there's any proper name for it. Hi, sorry about that. My mother needed something, so I had to run off and do that. So I'm back again. So now my paint has started drying, which is a bit of a pain, and it's nowhere near as light as I'd like it anyway. So I'm just going to add some more of this lighter blue. Oh, I've probably gotten too much again. See how this goes. And when I do painting and making things like this, I tend to just wing it. I don't always have a full plan, and I don't go for perfection. I just wing it, see what happens, and whatever we end up with, if I don't like it, I'll just go over it. So no pressure, just having fun, playing with paint. Get paint all over my fingers, so I'm really good at that. So literally just making sure the brush is going in a vertical direction so that I get that streaky look in vertical lines. So if I go over the bottom here to make sure that I'm covering the edge, and then you go back over, do some more streaky lines, and that'll cover what the brush strokes from going across. And I've just got to go around these pegs a bit, and I'm not going to be that particular with that either. It's a piece of art that's going to hang photos on, so people are going to mostly be looking at the photo that's on it, not the actual artwork that's in the background. So you just do vertical stripes, and I am going to want this paler than this is as well, so I will have to come back and do another coat. So once it dries, I'll come back and do another coat, and I'll add that onto this video so it's all in one place, because this won't be very long. There we go. Okie dokie. I'll catch you later. Back again. I did start just before and then made a big mess, so I've just turned the video off and started again. All I've done is just dabbed a couple of globs of this paler blue, cold blue onto the canvas so I can get a lighter tinge of blue. Just go up close around my pegs first, get the edges done there. I don't want this to look perfect, I want it to look streaky. So this kind of painting is really easy to do because there is absolutely very little skill involved. It's just literally slopping the paint on. Got a little bit of paint glob there, and doing the vertical stripes on here. And you can see, I'm sure you can see there where I've stenciled on with some texture paste before, some barbed wire, and going lightly over it with a contrasting colour helps it stand out. Just adds a little bit of interest to the canvas. So I'm just going to do these very wishy-washy vertical stripes on this canvas, and I'll keep doing quick layers until I'm happy with what I've got. That's the great thing about painting, you can just keep painting over it. If you don't like what you've done, play around, trial things out, and then if you don't like it, paint over it. Easy peasy. Don't be afraid. Nothing to be afraid of. It's all good fun. And if you haven't done much painting and you're not sure how it's going to work, just use the cheap paints. It's a lot cheaper to play with, obviously. Go over the top of these pegs a little bit. There we go. Okay. I think I'm rather liking that now. There's a bit of a glare off my lights. Just hold this on a bit of an angle. Different angles so you can maybe see what it looks like for now. I'll just pop back on when that's dry so you can see the finished. See if I like it then. And that might be it done. Rightio. I'll catch you later. Bye. G'day, Sunny here from Sunny Snaps. How are we all today? Just finishing off the blue canvas, which I'm going to attach to the end of the rest of the video, so I don't really need to introduce myself, but you know what, I did anyways. So I have a canvas. It's all dry again now, and I've got stripes of colour through it, just the blues and the whites. I don't know if you can see. There's also texture on here that I added a long time ago with stencils and texture paste. So there's like a stalk of wheat and some barbed wire because I'm a bit of a country girl, so it goes with my theme, but I didn't like the colour that it was. So we're changing it up. And I'm going to do some dry brushing today because even though I like this colour, I want to bring out these details a little bit more. So I'm just going to dry brush over the top. I'm not an artist of any sort, shape or form. I just wing it and do what I want, and if it doesn't work then you just go over it. So there's no mistakes. You do what you like. Just using the bottom of an ice cream container that I've topped off and some white paint from the cheap store, titanium. Oh no, sorry, this is the Aldi one, Creative Place, titanium white. Love the Aldi paints. They're $1.95 each in Australia, probably cheaper in America. So I'll probably have to undo it. Because they are cheaper paints, they're quite. So cheaper paints are usually a bit watered down, so they're thinner. Your better quality paints will give you better coverage. But when I'm doing jelly printing and playing around, I don't want to use expensive paints. I'll just use cheap paints to do what I want to do without wasting too much money. So all I did is put a tiny little bit in here. And when you're dry brushing, you don't wet your brush. So this is a dry brush. I don't even have any water in my container. I'll go wash the brush out when the video is finished. So this is a fairly soft paintbrush. Usually with dry brushing, you will generally use a fairly harder brush, but this isn't my glue brush, so it gets used a lot, and it's pretty fluffy now. You can see it's not holding its shape really well. And when you're dry brushing, you don't want a pretty perfect brush. You want a messy sort of brush, if that makes sense. And you also don't want a lot of paint on your brush. So I just dab it in a little bit of paint and then dab it off to the side. So I've only got a tiny little bit on there. And you're better off starting with a little bit. I just got paint all over my finger. Just grab my rag. You only want a tiny little paint on your brush. And then you want to go very lightly. And usually I'll go one direction. And look, there's nothing on there. So I need some more. And I'd rather start with a very light amount of paint and get nothing on there to start with before you go in. Because if you go in too heavy, you've got to sort of start again or get paint over it and go from scratch. So I'm just trialing it, seeing how much paint I need, and just do a little bit and then you build it up. So I'm just flicking this paintbrush very, very lightly. And it might be better if I put this on a bit of an angle for you guys to look at. Just flicking very lightly. Just want a little bit of white there. And what dry brushing does is it highlights the texture. So it puts a little bit of white where it catches the edges of the texture and highlights that texture a bit so it stands out for you. Very simple concept. And there's also texture on the canvas, so I'm just going to bring it out a little bit. And I'll just keep playing. As I go, I can press a little bit harder now because there's not much paint left on that brush. But I just want it to get just a little bit on the sides there. So I'm going to go over a little bit more. Brush this out a bit more. Should put the paint on this side so my arm's not swapping over for you guys. Not used to doing all this stuff on YouTube, so let me know what works best for you. I'll try and get it on screen. Try and get the idea across for you the best way I can. Whoops, see, that's what happens if you go a bit hard. You get big white splatter. Then I'll just dab most of the paint off here. Just go over it lightly again. There you go. Wash it in a bit. Big splat there. So there you can, I don't know how well you can see that. Brings that barbed wire texture out. And when I've got a photo hanging on here, you'll only see part of that anyway. So what's in behind here doesn't really matter too much. So now I'll try and get this piece of wheat here to stick out a little bit more. I'll just rub this over here nice and lightly. Just get a little bit of paint, dab most of it off, and just nice and lightly across that piece of wheat. And as I go, I can press a little bit harder because there's less paint on there. Start soft till you know how much paint you've got, and then when you've got no paint left, you can go harder, but you'll still get that little bit of white and this little bit of barbed wire texture up in this corner as well. Just a little bit. Now that I've got this little tiny bit of paint here, this is actually working a bit better because I can press a little bit harder now. And I'm always going in this direction because that's the way I've painted this canvas. It's all been up and down. So I want it all to blend in. I'm just going to put a little bit on the sides here. Give the sides a bit of a highlight. Want a little bit more of that barbed wire to show. There we go. I'm really liking that. A little bit more, just highlight, a bit like distressing the edges. So like when you do a dark edge to give your work that aged look, or you can call it a highlight. Well, it's kind of like adding a vignette. So when you do photography, you add a vignette around the outside so you get dark edges and dark corners, and that highlights the focal point that's in the center of the photo. Gives it a bit of interest. So I'm just doing that, but with the white. So it's kind of a white vignette on the edge. Just bring that edge out a little bit so you getting these little bits of white lines around the edge. Highlight the edge. Gives it a frame, and it helps make what's in the center stand out. And actually kind of like, it's got a little bit brighter on that edge, so I need to bring this one up a bit the same. And having the messy brush means you don't get an even brush stroke, which is exactly what I want when I'm doing this. So just a little bit more up the top corner here, a little bit more on the wheat. It's almost disappearing, that wheat, but that's okay. I don't mind. Do I like that? What do you think? I think I might make a little bit more in spots. Actually put some bigger bits of white so the white actually stands out a bit more, because at the moment it's actually getting very lost, which is fine. Just want a little bit more contrast in a couple of places. So you can actually see that I've done something, if you know what I mean. It doesn't just all totally blend in. I'm just going to blend that a little bit more. There we go. Yeah, that's better. A little bit. Actually make that white stand out a little bit more. And as you can see, there's virtually no paint left in here, but that's all I need to do this. Bring that bit of wheat out a bit more. Just smush that brush in around these bits of wheat. There we go. Yeah, that's better. I like that. Yes. Okay. I'm going to call that done, and that paintbrush will get washed. So very simple thing. And I should have had a photo here, which I don't. What I'm just going to do, I've got this little piece of paper, which is folded, so I'm going to put it upside down, just so you can see kind of the effect. You put a little photo on there, and you hang it on your wall, and it makes your photo look really pretty. Or if you've got kids that do drawings, hang their drawing up, and anything you want to hang up, you can just put it on there. You can even use it as a pegboard for putting up your letters that you need to pay attention to, or the next doctor's appointment, or whatever you want. Put it in there. Attach this to the wall. I've got Velcro strips on the back here, which I just peel them off and stick it on the wall wherever you want. It's nice and light because it's only a thin piece, so it's not going to fall off. And then you just peg up your picture, and Bob's your uncle. No, let's not put that one there. Okay, let's leave it at that. Alrighty. Thanks for coming. Thanks for watching. Really appreciate it. Like and subscribe if you wish. And I will catch you in the next video. Bye.